Alrighty, guys. Today is the day. We're gonna move all this stuff. I'm gonna pack all this up. I just changed over this intersection here, so now anything that comes out of the pit is gonna get piped along, and it's gonna go all the way up to the Parthenon. If you missed the last episode and you didn't know, all the stuff, instead of going from there to here, is now gonna go here, up to here, follow this wall, into that. Hold on. Hold on, it's a lot of running. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. It's going to follow this castle wall. It's going to run down this length of castle wall. It's going to go over into the tunnel, and then about a mile that way, and it goes up into the Parthenon up there. Woo! Okay, so yeah, we're going to move everything from there up to there. I'm going to do a time lapse of me trying to figure out how I'm going to do this new setup. And I'll get everything slapped together, and then I'll bring you guys back and kind of give you a rundown of what's going on. Sound good? Alright, let's do it. Okay, so about the time lapse, I kind of lied, but not really. I started to record it, and then I started building things, and I realized I wanted to change things, and I forgot to record it. It didn't seem worth recording. I'm just going to show you how I did it. I'm going to give you a rundown. Okay, you ready? There's not that much going on here. We take a look from the sky cam. It might look like a lot, but it's not too bad, really. And again, I want to make sure everybody knows this isn't how you have to do it. And this is the way I'm doing it. This is the way I think it's going to be the best for right now. If you're new to Out of War, you might not know this is an early access game, even though there's a beta branch and there's even a testing team that is before the beta branch. So there's multiple layers of testing and early access, and even the full version that most people are playing on Steam, it's not complete. Okay, they're not done adding stuff. It's a work in progress, so you gotta work with a little bit. Now let's get past the ranting. And let's show you how I do this. Now, I am not just moving pay dirt, I am also moving blasted rock. So that added a little bit more to it. Now, we're going to start with the jaw crusher into the cone crusher. And that's turning your blasted rock into processable gravel, basically. And then from there, we're moving it on to the wash plant. Now, if you want, you can use the sluice here, but the sluice is going to trap things like gold and all of your gems, which I want my gold to get smelted, not trapped, so we're using the wash plant to continue it on. From there, we move on to the froth floater. Now, if I had the stuff in front of me like a smart person, I wouldn't have to do this, but this is also good to show. In the store, if you click on a piece of equipment, it's going to show you this. And if you scroll down, it gives you a diagram of what everything does. Now, some of it's a little janky. It hasn't all been updated yet. Again, early access. Now, the froth floater is going to process my gravel, and it's going to push everything through that is important-ish. Okay, all of your iron, copper, aluminum, silver, gold, all that's going to get pushed through, and it's going to move on down the line to your furnaces. Now, everything I did over here is pretty optional. Now, this is all the other things going this direction, is like your dirt, the coal, and then the tailings. And as of right now, there's just not really a way to separate the silicone and the ruby and the diamond from the tailings that I can find. They just they're stuck together at the moment. But again, this is all optional. So what I'm doing to separate all this here is after the froth floater, I'm having it run into this trommel. The trommel's spitting out the dirt. And then out the bottom, it's giving us... Wait, no. Yeah. We have the shaker screen after the trommel. And then out the back of the shaker screen, you're getting your tailings and everything else. And then there's nothing left for it to sort other than coal. So the coal comes out. Now, say you don't care about most of this other stuff and you just want your coal sorted, there is a coal screen. The coal screen will push everything through, and it will push coal out the back. What you can do, alternatively, is anywhere in line you could put that coal screen. I typically prefer to put it in the front, either before or after the crushers. It doesn't make a difference because coal isn't something that is captured within pay dirt or any kind of rock. Coal is just its own thing. So if you're mining an area that has coal mixed in, then just put your coal screen somewhere and then wherever you feel like in your line, and it won't really be an issue. Okay, while we're standing here, froth floater and the wash plant both require water. Now, I haven't tested this myself to be 100% sure, but when you put a pump in the ground, it is going to give you unfiltered water. You want to pass that unfiltered water through a water refinery. It will give you clean water, and that will make your equipment run more efficiently. It will give you higher yields. I am pretty confident in that. I could be wrong, though. And also, big, huge thing here. When you're building your production setup, if it requires a pump, I would strongly... If you're building on a platform or you're snapping it on grid, I would strongly suggest putting down your pump first. Now, I'm in a precarious situation here because I'm on a mountain and all this is going on, but I would strongly suggest building your plant off of the pump. So using the snap mode to place the pump or the grid mode if you can get it to work, make sure that the pump is going to work properly. Here, let me just let's get a pump in our inventory. I want to make sure, because this has caused a little bit of confusion with a lot of people. I kind of wish there was a flatter spot here, but okay. So as you can see, the text is red, and now it's green, and it can be finicky sometimes. Yeah, see, like here with the grid mode, it's not working. If I bring it in, now it's working. So you really got to make sure it's giving you that green check mark. I know it's kind of self-explanatory, but I feel like it's something that needs to be mentioned. Am I going to be able to parkour back up here? There we go. Okay, yeah, but I had to shuffle a lot of these things because the pipes would not connect with the equipment properly. And then when I reconnected the equipment, the belts didn't match up. So, again, last time I'll say it, strongly suggest starting with the pump and then kind of building off from there. I know it can make it a little more difficult, but it definitely could be worth it. And on the topic of connecting things, when you're snapping pieces together, there are little arrows that give you the direction. This is especially important with the pipes because the splitters are kind of directional. They're not universal, let's say. They only operate in one direction like the conveyor belts do. So pay attention to those arrows, and then when you're placing down pieces, make sure these end connector pieces are lined up. That will help you troubleshoot a lot. If something in your plan's not working, check your connection points, because sometimes when you're jumping between snap mode and grid mode, I don't really have anything to click to, they can get offset, and that can cause issues. So you'll be able to notice it. They'll be kicked up a little bit or kicked down or off to the side. So that's just something you got to pay attention to. But okay, beyond this, so if you're running both materials, blasted rock and pay dirt, jaw crusher, cone crusher, wash plant. From there, froth floater. Your junk, your coal, your silicone, and all your gems are going to go that way. From there, do whatever you want. You can do that. The rest of your stuff is going to come out this direction, and these are all the metals you want to melt. Now, We kind of have a fuzzy spot right now because with iron, you can either make iron or you can make steel. As of right now, if you want to make both, it's kind of complicated. I might show you that after we're done here. I have it in a test world, but to me it's not really worth it. So, I just make steel because to me the steel is superior to the iron because it's worth more. So you put your high temp smelter in first, and that is going to eat your iron and it's going to eat your aluminum, and that's going to smelt both of those down. And everything else is going to pass right through this furnace. Once you get past that one, you're going to get to your regular smelter, and your already melted down steel, well, iron that is now steel, and your aluminum will just pass right through this one and go into storage. Everything else is going to get smelted and put into here. So here's our steel, and here's our aluminum. That just passed through the regular smelter. Everything else got melted down here. Now, what I've elected to do is end it here with all the melted stuff, and then it is up to you to decide what production chain you want to take on right now. If you want to do steel beams, or you want to make coils, or steel rods, or if you want to make the sheets, or if you just want to make stuff into bars, you can take any one of these systems and just plug it right into the back without the storage, and it'll process it and spit it all out. Now, there's a few issues with that. Not everything can be turned into a beam or into a bar or into a sheet. So I kind of laid it out. So the only thing that you can make into beams right now are steel beams. Is steel. And it takes 2 steel. Come on, game. It takes 2 melted steel to make 1 steel beam. Now, you have to pass it through the bloom roller and then into the beam roller. Now, that being said, copper, iron, aluminum, and steel can all be made into blooms, but once you make them into blooms, they are all going to pass through here but the steel and just come out as a bloom, and then you can't really do anything else with them. They're stuck as blooms, and you either have to stack them like that or you can sell them. So that is one reason this stuff is all separated, is so I can hand feed it. Now, with the rods, it's just a one-step deal. You can do steel, copper, aluminum, or iron, which I don't have any of at the moment. And again, that is a 2-to-1 ratio. So if you only feed one melted ingot into this, it's going to hold it in here until you feed it a second one, and then it will kick them out on the end. So it's a 2-to-1 ratio for both of these. Now, over here, we have the coil roller and the plate shear. This can take pretty much everything like the rods. Of course, I don't have stuff prepped in here, but it can take, it can also take the copper, and it can take the aluminum. I already have aluminum in there. Where's it? Steel, aluminum, copper, iron. Iron's the one I'm missing. Now, the one difference with this is it doesn't take 2, it takes 100. I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if it was kind of an oversight, but it takes 100. So if you start feeding them into here and you're not seeing anything coming out the end, it's not a bug. You have to feed it 100 before it will give you any product out the rear. It's a little frustrating if you're just getting started, but they might have done it to save some performance and some items moving across the belt or something along those lines. So, anyways, you put in 100 of your steel, aluminum, copper, or iron of choice. It's going to go through the coil roller. It's going to go through the plate shear, and it's going to come out in the storage as 50 sheets, if assuming you put in 100. So yeah, that's I don't know. I tried to make this all make sense. Oh, okay, one more option here. If you don't want to make any of this stuff, you don't want to make the sheets, the coils, the bars, the beams, you just want to make bars, you just need the bar roller. That's it. So anything can go into the bar roller. This is also going to be useful for the things that can't currently be made through the automated production, like the gold, the silver, the lithium, and I don't have silicone in here, and the silicone. So all of this stuff can be smashed and it will turn into a bar from which you can take and use in the old school crafting benches to make your other parts, which also comes in handy. Like let's see, we're gonna go to equipment. You'd think after 3 years I'd be able to navigate this user interface. There we go. Workbenches, all these things. Right. So, like, let's just pick a couple here for the people that don't know. They get a CNC cutter. Yeah. We'll just plunk a couple of these down. It also, if you're playing on a harder difficulty where your machines break down, instead of buying the parts, you can make the parts, and they do require things. So that's all worked in. So that's what you might want to use your bars for, too. That's why I like to have this system in place where I can hand feed and get whatever I want. And it's not all just being turned into blooms or coils or what have you. I can kind of micromanage what I want. As of right now, there's just not an easy way to try and move everything around and kind of evenly spread it out. So hand feeding it seems to be the way to go. That's how I'm going to stick with it for now until we get a little more revised systems. So yeah, and if you are really worried about money, you can definitely go along and make things like the bearings and the gears and combine them into a drive axle, or just making chains or making sensors. And these are all parts you need for the vehicles too. If you have breakdowns turned on where the parts wear down and the vehicle stops, you can just make all your parts right here instead of buying them. And I do believe it's cheaper. The money system gets rebalanced quite frequently, so there's that. As far as getting your other things smelted down, like your diamonds, your rubies, and your silicone, I think most of you probably know this by now, but let's grab a ore smelter and a small wash plant. So I'm biting my tongue on this. I want to say that you could put the silicone in raw down wherever your hopper is, and it might pass through the system. I'm not sure. What I would just suggest doing is grabbing one of these ore smelters and putting in your silicone and just doing it this way. It doesn't take very long. It's pretty quick. And you're going to get your silicone bars turned around in about 5 seconds per bar. And then as far as the gems go, you can just bring them in here. This is a painful process. It takes about 15 seconds per. There's not really a way around doing this right now. This is the only way to polish your gems. You can definitely have multiple of these as long as your computer can handle it, but even just with like the 40 and the 18, you can see it's gonna take 15 minutes, and that was like one scoop of paid hurt that I got these from. So it's kind of a pain. Okay, I think I've just briefly covered everything here. I really hope that wasn't too much of a cluster. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my testing world, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when you try and hook all this stuff up to automatically produce. Because personally, I don't think it's worth the effort. It's kind of a jumbly mess. I think this is the way to do it personally. Again, you don't have to do it this way. But let's hop over to my testing world, and I'll show you kind of what that looks like. Okay, here we are in my testing world. It starts out the same. From the hopper, we go from a jaw to a cone. On this version, I put the coal screen first. Again, doesn't really matter where you put this. Separates out the coal. And then we have our water refinery. On this one, I have the froth floater first. And from there, it separates out the stuff like it does. Except I have it all come through here, and it actually merges back together. I wanted to kind of keep this all on one line. So, because of our beautiful 2x2 corners, you have to do some funky stuff. I bring everything back to one line. And then from the metal sorter here, pretty much everything goes forward. But the aluminum and the iron come out the bottom here. And they then split in half. Okay, so half of the aluminum and the iron return back to the main line. And then half of it comes back over here and gets turned into steel. Now, this is the part that hurts my brain a little bit. We're going to have aluminum and steel coming out this side. And then we're going to have iron and aluminum and copper and everything else coming out here. The reason there are two smelters here, and the first one, this is important, the first one is a regular smelter, and then the second one is a high temp, is because if you don't have this high temp here, the aluminum won't smelt. Your iron will smelt into iron in the first smelter, but then it will just pass through here and be unfazed and not turned into steel. So you need this just for the aluminum on the low temp side, because of the way we have to split things in half. Now, once we're over to here, and our iron and everything's coming out this way, it merges back, and then our steel and our aluminum split in half here. And some of the steel goes this way, and this is making the steel beams. Now, the unfortunate thing is there's not a way to separate the aluminum, so you're getting aluminum blooms. It sucks. There's nothing to do with the aluminum blooms. They just live here now. So the other half of the steel and the aluminum come back over here and join the rest of the gang, where it then splits off again. And it splits off between the bars and the coils. So from here, oh yes, and the tailings, the wonderful tailings. Everything ends up in these two containers because it gets split in half evenly. You could further produce this if you wanted. You could put a bar roller on it. You could put you could merge these together and put a bar roller, and then you could put a froth floater and something along those lines if you wanted to further separate this stuff. But as you can see, we are getting the steel, the iron, the aluminum, and the copper, and then we're left with the lithium and the silver because you can't do anything with it yet. So yeah, we're getting all four here as far as the metals go, and then just the steel. Again, guys, this is an early access game. I don't know for sure. I don't know any more than you guys. I just pay attention in the Discord when they're chattering about things. It's an early access game. They're working on it. I know some things are frustrating, but we just kind of have to work with it and kind of deal with it for the meantime. I'm putting this video out because I think they're done for a little bit. When I say done, I don't know. I'm just guessing they're going to work on something else for a little bit. I think they're kind of done tinkering with production, or at least pushing out the updates to us for right now. I think they're going to start focusing on vehicles more. So I felt like this was a safe time to release this video, just to kind of give everybody an idea on how they can set up something stable. It's stable, very loosely saying that. So yeah, this is the convoluted mess that is if you want it to kind of craft everything minus a few things that I could have added in. It's really hard to put all the variables into a video. It would be a lot of work. So if I didn't cover something and you guys still have questions, you can always just ask in the comments, and I will do my best to help you guys out. I'm not afraid to help. So fire away on the questions, and if you feel like you might need additional help, don't be afraid to join the NMC Discord. If you're not already in it, you can just join it through the game. If you go to community and hit join our Discord, it'll zoop you right in there, and then find Out of War and go to the Game Talk channel. There's also tons of voice channels with people always playing. And there are some other channels that have tutorial guides and things like that too that might help you. A lot of them get outdated pretty quick though, so it's easiest just to ask questions. Most people are more than happy to answer. Yeah, okay. That's all I got, guys. My brain's melted. Again, I hope this helped you guys out. And again, if you have any questions, if you're still confused, punch it down there in the comments, and I will see what I can do to help. Okay, well, that's all I got. That's it. Hold on. Mouse wheel, engage. That's all I got. So, thanks for watching. If you're here at the end of the video, watching me flick my head back and forth because you can't look at the camera directly, I appreciate you for being here for the whole thing. Okay, peace out. See you in the next one, guys.